welcome to Ekate's Crossing. Oh, I'm so excited. Another one in the Seasons of the Witch Oracle. So this is Litha Oracle. So let's have a look. It's another one of the Sabbats. So let's have a look again. The great little guidebook, of course, with the images and the messages through there. So I'll have a look at that in a little bit deeper. Purple background, which is really cool. Again, you've got the two-piece boxes, beautifully done. Rock pool, of course, which is really, really cool. So yeah, absolutely great. So another deck by Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Dares, and this one illustrated by Tatiana Lukovic. I'm not quite sure. Sorry if I've mispronounced that in any way. But yeah, beautiful two-piece box, beautifully done. This one's got the purple, which I absolutely adore. Again, the great guidebook with the cards, the messages through it with the keywords and the title. So yeah, so this is going to be really interesting to sort of dive into, have a little bit more, have a look at the cards. Now, Litha themes and areas of focus are abundance, cleansing, creativity, fire energy, growth, inspiration, motherhood, power, success, vitality, and warmth, which is really, really beautiful. Okay, so this is, oh, they talk about the elements, so this is a little bit more. So yeah, we've got to dive a little bit more into this deck. Again, it's got the Litha card spreads, interviewing your deck, hydration spread, farmers market spread, which is interesting, insects, welcoming summer spread, the money magic Litha cross, okay, which is like your Celtic cross, but it's called the money magic Litha cross, which is interesting. Okay, and then of course you go into the cards. So let's have a look at the imagery of this deck. Okay, it's edged in purple, always beautifully edged, these decks. Right, so let's have a look at these. Oh, these are a little bit slippery. So we've got bike ride, butterflies, Cancer. Okay, so let's say Cancer. Citrus fruits, clear quartz. Now remember, this is Northern Hemisphere, so there are going to be a little bit with the themes when they start going into the zodiacs. We're a little bit opposite in regards to the zodiac sign for Litha in the Southern Hemisphere, but that's okay. The messages will still be pertinent to the reading, whatever you choose to do. So very, very colourful deck, very, very colourful. There's a lot of colour in the imagery. Good messages, or good little bit more of sentences or keywords more than affirmations or anything like that. They're not in riddles. Just says garden bed. Sometimes it's difficult to see how hard you're working when you don't provide space for reflection. So yeah, so quite different than some of the other decks, which is quite cool. Green Witch. Oh, cool imagery. Beautiful images. The images have got a lot in them. There's a lot going on. So you could go through and just create your own messages from what you see, from what the characters are doing, what images, what colors stand out. Like in this one here, the yellow is quite strong. So for me, that would be how, you know, your digestive system, your trusting your gut instinct, that sort of thing. It's herb crafting. Allow your roots to dive into the depths your spirit calls for grounding. It's an interesting message there. Horse. Oh, hummingbirds. There's a lot of animals and things again in these decks, which I absolutely adore. Hydration message. Insects. Like, sorry, I just got carried away with this. It's got mermaids, money magic, so beautiful, beautiful imagery, beautiful messages. So I think I'm going to really look forward to sort of diving into this deck. Now remember, you can use these decks anytime you like. You don't have to stick to that Sabbath. There's many ways to use them. You can use them with a tarot deck. That's sort of, for me, it's normally the Silver Witchcraft Tarot or Hocus Pocus, but I'm also thinking the Herb Craft is any sort of herbal type of deck could also be there. Anything with herbs or plants, crystals, any of those sort of type of decks could go with it as well. So there are lots of decks you could sort of play with when you're working with these decks, which I think is quite cool. The imagery is neat. Sunbathing, that sounds lovely. Sun magic. Sun salutation. So there's lots of different, and then we've got sunset. Dinner. Sunstone is in the crystal. In the uniqueness of who you are lives a world yet to be discovered. That's neat. And sun tea. Slow, intentional, delicious, interweaving with life holds more magic than you think. Oh, that's cool. You know, that's brewing your tea. Cold tea out in the sun, which is quite nice. Sun wheel. Wow, and then you've got wand making, sorry. And wildflowers. How cool is that in regard? So let's have a look at the message. So what message, or shall we do the deck interview? Let's do the deck interview from the guidebook. So how many cards are we going to do this here? Let's have a look at this. Okay, this spread is always included in these decks because interviewing your deck is a must-do practice. You'd undercover witch. Okay, well, I mean, that's if you want. You don't have to, but these are always suggestions. Getting to know your deck can be crucial if you're serious about being an oracle deck reader. The following reading sets a tone for the way your deck will communicate with you. Each deck has its own personality. Sometimes even if you have two copies of the same deck. Have you ever heard someone say, my deck tells me like it is? Or my deck is always so comforting. The spread. Okay, so let's have a look. We've got card 1, which is personality. What personality do you have? Card 2 is what is the strength. Card 3, what is your weakness? Card 4, how will the deck help you grow? Card 5, when should you call on the deck for guidance? And card number 6, what is the best way to work with this deck? And number 7, what will your relationship with the deck be like? So we've got 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. Okay. So what personality does this deck have? Let me have a look. What personality? Okay, what personality? What's the deck's strength? Deck strength. Weaknesses. Oh, okay, so that fell out. Okay, and then number 4 is how will the deck help us grow? How will the deck... Whoa, okay. The deck help us grow. Right, okay, so next we have when should we call on the deck for guidance? Call on the deck for guidance. Right, next one. What is the best way to work with this deck? What's the best way to... Oh, okay, the cards are really sort of jumping, sort of pop. Like, what will the relationship with this deck be like? What will the relationship with this deck. Oh, okay. So let's have a look. What have we got here? So the first one is, what personality does the deck have? Sun tea, slow, intentional, delicious, interweaving with life, holds more magic than you think. So I think this deck is going to be very intentional in the message that it gives us. It's going to be very to the point. Okay, it's going to be very intentional. It's something that you've got to work with slowly. Okay, what's the strength of this deck? Summer solstice. Like the sun, spread your ray of light and ignite the light in others. So the strength of this is going to bring a sense of lightness to you. It's going to give you the information you need and allow you to grow and develop. Okay, so what's the weaknesses? Cancer, call yourself back from all space and time to feel, sense and reflect on the oceans of your presence within. Call yourself. So it says, what is the weaknesses? I think the weakness is that sometimes it's not going to call you, it's not going to give you the message. No, call yourself back from all space and time. The weakness is, let's have a look. The weakness is, let's have a look. So what would that be in your weakness, if you like? Maybe it's something, maybe it's going to be too present. I feel sometimes maybe it's going to make you feel too much. Maybe it's going to do with your emotions. If I think of Cancer being watery sign, I do feel like it's going to be very much about your emotions, your worry. It's going to cause you, maybe it sort of gives you too much of you being in the moment. Maybe it's trying to, maybe you need to find balance somewhere along the line, but might be it's emotional. Emotional. Okay, how will the deck help you grow? Herb crafting. Okay, allow your roots to dive into the depths and your spirit calls for grounding. So I think it's going to allow you to really sort of dive deep if you want to. But I think that could be, I mean, that could also be a weakness in some respects. Maybe you're too present, where you're not really aware of what's going on. I think maybe you're too present or too wound up in your own emotions. That could be a weakness there. I see, yeah. So how does the deck get you to grow? So you've got to dive deep into it. Deck for guidance. Salutation. Praise the temple that carries your when you need support. Okay, anytime that you feel like you need support is when you should call on the deck for guidance. What's the best way to work with this actual deck? Farmer's market. Remember to distinguish abundance from wholeness. Choose wisely. When you know that you need to choose wise, when your focus is intentional. Okay, when you're clear-minded, in a way, I'm getting very much there about clear-minded. But what else could I say about a farmer's market? Farmer's market to me is also that sense of community, when you feel like you need the support in some way. So that's the best way to work with this deck. Okay, what will be the relationship? Country cottage. Oh, that's tying for me that the relationship is going to be quite cozy. I feel like it's going to be quite, okay. It's going to be a time for the seeker to look within. What haunts you can only be faced by you. But country cottage to me is that sense of a space, a sacred space. So I do feel like it's going to allow me to look within. That's the relationship that I'm going to have with this deck, is when I really want to look within, when I really have that sense of relationship with it, with when I need to face whatever haunts us, whenever we need to face whatever thing. Oh, what an interesting reading when we're looking at that. Okay, so that was quite an interesting reflection on what this deck will be like. Now let's have a look at a message for us. Okay, So now that we've looked at what type of deck you are, so can you give us a message for the collective, please? Oh, this popped out quite strongly. Again, Sun T. I think it's very important to make sure, I think our message is that we don't rush into things, that we take our time, that our working with whatever we're doing is intentional. We're not in any particular hurry. Okay, so it feels like it's very focused. And the next card we get is Green Witch. No one decision is significant in the act of intention. Again, you get that sense of intention, using that magic that lies within you to use this. Again, I get that sense of working with plants. I keep getting the Herb Crafters Tarot with this deck. I don't know why, but it keeps coming into my mind when I'm thinking about this oracle deck. It's about working with the herbs and plants. Or even the Telluric Tarot would be absolutely perfect working with this. Oh, this is going to be interesting, I think. I know I normally work with Silver Witchcraft or the Hocus Pocus, but for me, I don't feel like Hocus Pocus is with this at all. And I'm getting that sense of more of a herbal crystal type of energy, plants, crystal type of energy for this. So it's going to be, even the Crystal Power would be quite a good deck for working with this. So any sort of plants or crystals is what I'm getting here for tarot. So I'm getting being very intentional. So this week is about being very intentional in what we do. Interesting messages there. Okay, so that's it from me. Don't forget to check the links down below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care.